Hello and good evening. Welcome to InvestBlade TV with Kenny. We're on a 31 days investment education, putting out the word regarding why it's important to invest, things about investing. If you've watched our day one video, that's great. But if you haven't, you should check it out. It's about 3 personality traits to avoid when investing. But today, I'm going to be talking about why investing is important. Why do you invest? The why of investing. Because when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable, misuse is inevitable, disuse, in fact, is inevitable. So, investing is important for several reasons. The first reason is because savings is not enough. As someone that's studied applied economics up onto PhD level, I can tell you that when you have money in a savings account, what happens is that your money is subject to inflationary pressures. What that means, for example, if you had $100, we've been using $100 as a benchmark figure so that it gives us a kind of a percentage effect, and then you can get what that means. If you're in Nigeria, that may translate to about 167,000 naira, and then so on and so forth, right? So if you have $100 in the bank, and your country is having whether staggering inflation or galloping inflation. So, for example, I understand that 2024 November, Nigeria has experienced about 40% inflation in the past year. So, your 100,000 naira, for example, let's benchmark it to 100,000 with our $100 mark. So, your 100,000 naira has lost 40% of its purchasing power. So the real value of the 100,000 that you kept in the bank for the past 1.5 years has lost 40% value. So that means that what your 100,000 could buy in about a year, last year, beg your pardon, it can now only buy what 60,000 can buy. You understand? So that's losing money. The purchasing power of that money has been lost by keeping it in the bank. So, for example, while savings has its own very important place, you save for a rainy day, save towards a target, and so on and so forth. That money is subject to inflation, and investing does something. It helps you to counteract the effect of that inflation. So, for example, if you invested $100 and you suffered 40% inflation, for example, the case in Nigeria, that means you have the real value of that money is $60. Okay, if you had invested the same amount of money, you would have, you know what? Maybe you could have had $110 or $120 or maybe $200, depending on what you invested in. And that helps you to counteract the effect of inflation. I hope you got that. So that's one of the reasons why investment and investing is important. The second reason is because of the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein, one of the most notable intellectuals of the past century, said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So with compound interest, if you put 100,000 naira in the bank or $100 and you left it in the bank, it could compound at the rate of 20%. And in let's say in if you put $100 every month, or let's say you put $20 every month, what would happen is that your money will enjoy the power of compound interest if you put it in the right investment. It's called compound average growth rate. So CAGR, you could look it up. So it begins to compound your wealth so that at a point the money you invested is just going to be carrying on greater weight because you left it in the proper investment vehicle. Very, very important. Very, very important. When we do things like this, we enjoy the beauty of compound interest. And there's always this saying that the earlier you start, better. For example, if you're 20 years old or you have a child, you're watching this video and you have a child that's 18 years old, you could start putting some amount of money in the bank for them, and that money will start enjoying the power of compound interest, and then you're doing so much for them. We'll talk about compounding later. So that's the second very important reason. The third important reason is that it increases your streams of income. I'm going to explain what that means. So streams of income in the sense that if you are working, you are earning, let's assume you are earning $1,200 per month, for example, which that's, depending on where you are in the world, that can be cheap, right? So as you are earning $1,200 a month, your $100 is also working to earn money, and this is very, very crucial. That way it helps you to as you are earning money, your investment is also earning money. When you don't have any form of investment, what's going to happen is that you are only working with your time instead of also letting your money work for you. So that's very important. You want to look into that. This money that I've kept in the bank, what else can that money do? You understand? I believe in the first few episodes, we're going to talk about different investment vehicles, and you'll be able to see which one works for you, which one matches your risk profile. Is that okay? Your risk profile, how you're able to adjust regarding these kind of things. All right. Then the third reason why investment and investing is important. I'll go with investing because investing is the culture, the discipline, right? And when you have invested, you now have what you call an investment. All right. So that's the verb and the noun at the same time. So let's talk about the final reason I'll be taking today, why investing is important. Investing is important because it helps you to build generational wealth. And I so enjoy the subject of generational wealth because it shows that you can really leave something for those coming behind you, and I'll explain what that means. So let's talk about some of the biggest names in business that we've heard, at least from generations before us. You hear of people like John D. Rockefeller. You hear about Henry Ford and things like that. You begin to see that these people built wealth to a point, and then they have a foundation after their names. Many of these people, it's not that they said, okay, I want to have a foundation. No, they built enough wealth, invested so much that the wealth is able to last generations. Of course, Bible says a good man will leave inheritance for his children. So you want a situation where you've invested enough, not just for your lifetime, but so that your children after you can have something to enjoy. You leave inheritance for those coming after you. That's very important. Whether the investment is a house, whether it's stocks and shares of a company, especially dividend paying stocks, and so that in addition to living your name, living your values, your principles, you are able to also leave wealth for those coming after you. And talking about wealth, I'll talk about the late Kobe Bryant. I read something a few years back now, after he died, because people were in mourning and things like that. But a few months after his death, one of his investments matured. He had shares in, I think, Body Armor. Was it Body Armor, or there was a drink that he had investments in, and his shares in that in that drink company matured, and even in his death, his wife and kids that were remaining had money to enjoy. So this is so beautiful, because you could have shares in the in some businesses, you could have money in the bank, you could have properties, and when you have gone, your family can enjoy these things. That is a life that a life that keeps on giving. You gave in your lifetime, and even in death, your name still registers. These are the kind of things that awesome people do, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. You can always begin to think of generational wealth. Generational wealth is one of the very important missions of Invest Blade, and we want you to come along with us. I don't know if you've been blessed by this day 2 episode. If you got any learning, please leave a comment, let us know. And is there something you want to learn about investing in particular? Let me know, and then maybe it will come up in these 31 days. And of course, after the 31 days, there'll be other beautiful things to talk about, and then I'll let you know other things that happen from there. I hope you have a nice one. Take care of yourself, and see you in the next video.